سلام بچه، حالت چطوره؟ خیلی خوش اومدید به یه ویدیو خفن دیگه. امروز قرار بریم به قسمت هفتم داستانهای واقعی ترسناک. حتما لایک، سابسکرایب، کامنت هیچ وقت فراموش نشه و بی معطلی بریم سراغ ویدیو.
I'm really close with my best friend and her family.
من میگه واقعا با دوست خانواده صمیمی هستم، یعنی از 2 سالگی همدیگه رو میشناسیم. دوست دوران مدرسه ایش بوده. میگه که داخل یه خیابون زندگی میکردیم و میگه که الان که 18 سالم بود قرار بود که یه چیزایی رو با دوستم به اشتراک بذارم، یه حرفایی رو.
When we first got there at around 10 p.m. we thought it would be
می‌خواستن
fun to
خونه رو
scare some
ترک
people
کنن
by
برن
hiding
یه
in the
جای
bushes
طبیعت
and
گردی
jumping out.
اینجوری چیزا.
It was fun and we got a few people and some of them just chuckled and thought we were
میگه که
cute
مخفی
and
شدیم تو
kept
بوت‌ها که
walking.
اونا رو مثلا
And then we
بترسونیم.
jumped out at this one man and his reaction startled 8-year-old me because when we jumped out he didn't get scared. He
میگه
just looked at us and smiled this really gross
که
pervy old
اون
man
نترسیده
smile.
بود، فقط داشت به ما نگاه
Since it was
میکرد.
a couple of years ago and it was dark and I couldn't really see any distinct
این
features
لبخند
other
این
than he seemed
پیرمرده
to be a
واقعا
white man
زشت
in his
بود.
late 40s, around 6
یکیشم
foot,
باد کرد.
medium build and had a strong smell of cigarettes and whiskey. My friend, we'll call her Faith, and I were both kind of weirded out because
بوی
he didn't
ویسکی
say
و
anything
سیگار
for a couple
میداد.
of
بوی
seconds
بده
until he
ویسکی و
said,
سیگار.
"You know, you really shouldn't scare people like that. It's quite naughty."
بعد چند دقیقه
That
گفتش
scared me
که
just because
شما
the whole
نباید
time
اینطوری
he was still
مردم
smiling
بترسونید.
and staring at us all over. I was
یا
frozen
خیره
and
شده بود.
Faith just grabbed my arm and said sorry to the man and we ran off. The next day was normal, but when it was sunset, we wanted to run around the campsite and be kids. When we were running around, we heard someone yell,
گفتش می‌خواستیم بدویم داخل طبیعت.
from up the hill, and so we look up and see no one, so I, without thinking back, yelled, "Yoo-hoo!" And then we see someone walk towards us on the hill. You guessed it. It was the man from the night before. I wasn't scared this time. I was in such a good mood, so I let the guy come towards us, and he yells down to us, "Where are your parents?" Which Faith replies,
پدر مادر شما
"Oh, they're
کجان؟
at the campsite." When
اونا
he
تو
hears that,
اردوگان.
the grin comes back and he asks,
میگه که وقتی که شنید پوزخند زد، گفتش الان وقت اینه بگیرمشون و بکشمش.
"Well, it's getting dark, so why don't I walk you back?" We started to get creeped out and
میگه
said,
هوا داره
"Ah,
تاریک
it's
میشه.
okay, it's pretty far away." Which he responds with, "Oh well, I have 2 kids and they have bikes you can borrow
منم
up
2
at
تا
my
بچه دارم.
campsite. Why don't you come with me and I'll show you?"
میگه 2 تا دوچرخه دارن.
I was
میتونید
scared and
دوچرخه
all I
هامو
wanted to
بهت
do
بدم
was go back,
سوارش
but
ببین چه
I didn't want to
دوچرخه
hurt his feelings, being as naive as I was, so I accepted and Faith and I started to walk up behind the man with him.
میگه که چون من ساده لو بودم پذیرفتم دنبالشون رفتم. یارو شبیه سعید دوستی چرا؟
After about 30 seconds, we got
میگه
to
یارو
his
داشت
campsite
پوزخند
and
میزد و به
we
عقبش
looked around and
تون
saw no
نگاه.
trace of kids, let alone bikes.
میگه که به
This was a
کمپش
huge red
رسیدیم.
flag. He says to wait outside of his trailer while he gets something. I look at Faith and tell her that we have to hide since there's no way we can run back to our parents.
میگه که اون برگشت به رفیقش گفت که ما باید پنهان بشیم، اون ممکنه
After about a
خطرناک
minute, I
باشه.
see him swing open the trailer door and come outside with
چیه؟
not bikes, but duct tape. This sight
چسبه؟
chilled me to the bone. Even though I was young, my mom and dad have told me about all the scary things that have happened to kids when they wander away. I would always watch murder shows with my dad and had seen an episode when someone was tied up with duct tape.
یکی من با پدرم
I started to
همیشه
freak out when
چیزای
I see his
قتل و
face change from
ویدیوهای
that
فیلم‌های
disgusting
قتلی رو
grin
نگاه
to
می‌کردم.
pure anger. He looks around, even right past me and Faith crouched down in a bush. After
تاش
no luck,
دنبالشون
he
میگرد.
charges back inside, and I grab Faith and we both run all the way back. We were too scared to tell our parents, so
یه همگی
we
فرار
just went
کردیم.
straight to bed. We went home the next day and didn't talk about it until a couple of days ago when it popped in my head.
خب بریم سراغ داستان دوم. داستان دوم
So when I
چیه؟
was in my first year in high school, I had a teacher whose
سال
name
اول
was Dr.
دبیرستان بودم.
Johansson. He used to teach my class civics.
اسمش
He was
دکتر
a
بود.
special fellow, not like other teachers. In the school I attended, teachers were often not close to students in a social way. They were simply there to teach, and that only. Dr. Johansson liked to keep contact with the students, so he decided it would be a lot easier to do so if he had a Facebook account. He started adding people on Facebook from our school and eventually started talking to them.
میگه که از بچهای مدرسه اون معلمه شروع کرد اون بچهای اد کرد نمیدونم همچین چیزی
posted weird stuff on his wall and commented weird things. For example, one time he posted the song Straight Outta Compton by NWA and wrote, "All they say is the N-word, 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 N-word. I don't get it." Of course, some students commented and asked him why he had used the N-word so freely. He removed the post and apologized, blamed it on being drunk.
چرا اون هی از کلمه این استفاده میکنه؟ نه مشکلش چیه؟
He started talking to students, mostly boys, and
به
managed to find some students' numbers and started sending them texts randomly. He would send stuff like, "Do you need help with homework? You could come over to my place and I could help you out over a glass of wine." And this he would say to teens that were younger than 18 years old. So according to the law, they are not even allowed to drink. And he pretty much offered alcohol to minors. Remember, he's a civics teacher. He should know this stuff by heart. It's also morals, for God's sakes. Anyway, he never sent me a text, but he sent some weird texts to my friends. Later on, he decided to talk to me. This was a couple of weeks after he had started contacting students like this. He would speak to me on Facebook chat. He would ask me things like, "How do you get girls? Do you have a big dick? Do you often get to sleep with girls after your shows?" Because I'm an artist. And I found these messages highly disturbing. They became worse, like, "You must be such a stallion in bed. You were probably really good. And enter the rabbit hole with me. Come on, I'll take care of you." I had no clue what the fuck that meant. And that wasn't even everything. After a while, things started to get out of control. He started asking me to go out with him to the clubs. And I wasn't even of age.
میگه که ازم خواست باهاش برم باشگاه. داداش اون باشگاه نمیخواسته ببرت. یه جا دیگه میخواسته ببرت.
At the time, and he said he could get me into the clubs with no ID and all would be well. Now, of course, I said no. He then apparently got pissed at me and decided not to speak to me much after that. Since I turned him down a few times. He started talking to one of my nearest friends instead. It ended up with Dr. Johansson sending my friend a picture of his ass with the caption, "Please."
میگه که حاجی معلمه براش عکس باسنش فرستاده. What the hell؟ چرا؟ بعد معلمه بهش گفته منو دوست داشته باشه نمیدونم چی و به من فکر کنه. برگام ریخته.
My friend was 17 at the time whilst Dr. Johnson was around his mid-30s. He was taken to court and Dr. Johansson got his little sentence. He was to do community service for a little while and then he was to pay my friend a fine. That was it. Dr. Johansson still works at a school today and is totally accepted. I find that very wrong, people. Very wrong. A man like that should not be able to get into that line of work again. Things could have gotten much, much worse.
این بده. بریم داستان سوم.
I'm 18 now, but when I was in 7th grade I was at my friend's house staying the night. We lived in a pretty rough side of town, but we were too ignorant to any danger. Around midnight we decided to walk to a gas station about 2 miles from his house, just to have something to do. We always like to freak each other out on these little late night walks. So I told him we should walk through the forest on the way to the gas station. With no hesitation, he made a sharp turn and walked directly into the trees.
میگه که از مسیر چیز به خاطر پامبزین باید از داخل چیز رد می‌شدن.
Did you hear that?
جنگل.
Obviously nothing was there until one time we weren't talking and heard a loud snap, like someone stepping on a branch. Instantly we stopped and looked at each other, then began to bust out laughing because how scared we got. We continued walking and eventually got out of the trees to the dimly lit street. I live in a small town, so there was only a small hotel and a bar in front of us. We continued walking when all of a sudden my friend nudged me, asked me if I had noticed the person behind us. Once again thinking he was trying to scare me, I told him to shut up. But when he looked at me, I could tell he wasn't kidding. I glanced over my shoulder and he wasn't kidding. There was a person about 50 feet behind us, It was too
میگه
dark
که یه
and we were too
نفر
far away to
از پشت
see
سر
any
ما داشت
features,
همینطوری داشت
but the
میومد.
silhouette was definitely there. I whispered
میگه
to
که
my friend
شبیه
that we should
شبح
go to
بوده
that
انگار.
hotel and to not look back again.
اوه.
We eventually stepped into the light coming from the sign of the
میگه
hotel
از
and checked.
دیگه گفتیم به عقب زیاد
Sure as
نگاه
shit, it was
نکنیم
still
که
behind us.
چیز نشه،
We looked at
تابلو
each other
نشه
and
که
made
فکر
the
کنه ما
decision
اونو
that we should
دیدیم.
get to that gas station and fast. We continued walking and I glanced over
میگه
my
تصمیم
shoulder.
گرفتیم سریع به
The
پمپ
person
بنزین
had
بریم
walked into the
برسیم
hotel
سریع
and we
زیاد
were now
نمونیم اونجا.
alone. I called my friend a pussy and we laughed as we were reaching the gas station. Inside we bought some drinks, laughed off the situation, and decided we should keep walking to our other friend's house, about a mile away. We began walking when I felt like someone was following us. I turned around and that's when I saw it. The same person had somehow caught up, was only 10 feet behind us, this time fully lit up. A tall, lanky figure draped in brown clothes loomed over us. My eyes crept up and that's when I realized there was no face. No eyes, no nose, no mouth, nothing. Just a faceless person. We both dropped our drinks and bolted to the nearest public place. Thankfully we saw some cop cars and ran to them. We stopped and looked back. The person had now crossed the street, but its head was fixed on us. The body sideways, but the head still looking at us. The creature walked straight into the trees like we had done so earlier.
بچه مرسی که این ویدیو دیدید و تا آخر این ویدیو همراه من بودید. این سه تا داستان متفاوت بود که خیلی خفن بود، من حال کردم با ویدیوش و مرسی که این ویدیو دیدید. حتما لایک، سابسکرایب، کامنت، هیچ وقت فراموش نشه. بزرگترین حمایت از من لایک کردن و دیدنتونه و تا ویدیو بعدی خداحافظ.